Hey everybody. Today I just kind of want to go over the day one impressions of the PTR for Diablo 4 Season 4. Um, is it fixed? Not fixed? Kind of just my thoughts. So one of the first things I noticed for today, the one thing that I wanted to see was the zoom out level. So as you can see right here in town, it's kind of zoomed in. Um, you can go for an even further zoom in. I don't know why you would ever want to be that close, but to each his own. World, it should zoom out.
I must wait a moment.
And it zooms out a little bit, and this is the far. So while you're in town, it's zoomed in. Once you go out into the world, it zooms out just a little bit. But if you want to figure out how to change the distance, there's a setting here in graphics. Just go to options, and you can go to standard, save changes. And you'll notice, like when I go out into the world, it doesn't really zoom out much. Kind of what we're used to. It kind of stays the same between the city and the outer world, but once you change it back to distant, far, zooms out just a little bit more. Kind of what everybody's been looking forward to. Alright, so the next thing I noticed was the density of the Helltide. I know a lot of people don't like to farm the Helltide. I don't either. It's kind of boring, but you need to do it for steel, for the steel, the living steel. So when you come out into the world, you'll see that the density is a lot better. This is the alright. So yeah, density is a lot better. And if you see that star up in the right under my cinders, that's kind of your GTA wanted stars. And as that progresses higher, more and more people will come out and kill you, try to kill you. And then once it fills up, a boss will spawn. So I'm gonna farm for a second, kind of get that bar up to show you all what I mean. I don't know if you just saw that big worm that popped out. It's kind of an event that kind of pops up every once in a while. Kind of spits out these monsters, or at least to fight you. Alright, so I'm just about filled up on my bar. There goes the worm once again. Kind of just shoots out all these monsters. Like, I noticed that it happens more like when your wanted stars up. Alright, so my wanted stars just filled up completely. And now I'm gonna start getting pushed by elites. It's gonna keep spawning in it, and as you can see, the wanted stars are slowly going down. And they're gonna keep going down to either I die or I can stay alive until the last monster comes out. This, in my opinion, has made the Helltide just a little bit better, much more bearable.
I must wait a moment.
Alright, now you see that orange elite on the map up in the right corner. Essentially a Bloodseeker. They're called Hellborn. And you fight them for a chance to get some materials, some gear. They're a lot harder than the rest of the elites in this area. But they're somewhat like the Bloodseekers from Season 2. Alright, so I finally beat him. Alright, so he drops some gear. That's pretty much it for that person.
I must wait a moment.
The next thing I want to look into was the blacksmithing and seeing how that interacted. So when you come over to the blacksmith, the salvage page is pretty much the same. The only difference now is that you salvage items to get their aspects as opposed to extracting them at the occultist. So you come over to the blacksmith and you extract them. If you can upgrade it, if it upgrades your Codex of Power, it tells you on the item. If it's just a new look, it'll also tell you. But if it's both, that X in the corner of this icon will be red. So easier to salvage them now and get the aspects. Next thing you have is tempering, which is adding fixes to gear that you have. Because legendaries start off with 3, rares have 2, magics have 1, and the whites have 0. So find you one that you wanna find a piece that you would like to upgrade, and then you put it into the blacksmith. Now, if you noticed on this one, there's a star. That's one of the greater affixes that drops. You can't temper into these. You can only find them out in the world. And when you find them out in the world, they have an icon next to them that lets you know that, hey, this piece has a greater affix on it. But here in town, when you go to temper it, you press A on the icon that you want to choose from, and you have a few choices. I only have 2 right now. And they do different stuff. Worldly, it'll tell you what you can select from. And when you select a temper, you don't choose which one. It's a random roll. So we'll roll a resistance on this one. Roll it real quick. Alright, so now I have shadow resistance on it as well. Alright, so just a note, you cannot put 2 defensive tempers on there. Because if you go to this one, it'll re-roll it. It'll get rid of what you have. I'll show you, I don't mind wasting it. So see, it got rid of the resistances and added maximum life. And as you can see, I already had a maximum life on there, just added another one, so obviously it just goes up. To get the 2 that you need before you can actually masterwork it, you have to put one of the affixes that you don't have already on it. So we'll do that right now. We'll just throw on this one. Hopefully it's a poison creeper. Of course not. Why would it be? All right. So now that it has the 2 tempers, and you can bring it over here to do the masterworking. Now masterworking is more of the very end game. That's after you do a tier 45 nightmare dungeon. You'll get the materials for this, but you can only do it on things that you've tempered twice. You want to temper them once and they only have the 1 anvil on there, it will not work. You have to do it twice. And this is the obfuscite that you get from the pit. Now the pit is essentially just a greater rift of this game. I don't mind them using that mechanic. I like the greater rifts, so it's okay. But anyway, it's going to increase all the affixes by 5%, but then it's gonna have a chance to bring one up more than the rest. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and upgrade this one. All right, so all affixes increased by 5%. And as you can see, it says 1 of 12. You can do that more. You can do it 12 times. I want to say every 4, you get one that takes that big jump, not just after every one. So that's it for the blacksmithing. All right, so the next thing to take note of, which is a really good job, Blizzard, is the Codex. All right, so now the occultist, to imprint, you grab an item, whichever one it may be. Now the Codex of Power is set up like this now. way better than just the icons, and you have to hover over the icon and see what it is. I've seen somebody say they didn't like this one, they liked the old one better. I prefer this one because you can actually see the name of it as opposed to having to hover over every icon. Now you'll notice the number at the bottom, the 16 of 16, is telling me that I have this at the max rank. 10 of 16 means I don't have it at the max rank, but I'm working my way up there. That doesn't mean you need to necessarily salvage 16 of these to get at max rank. You just need to find the max role in World Tier 4. World Tier 1, World Tier 2, World Tier 3 all have different ranges. Obviously, World Tier 4 has the highest, so as you salvage your gear, you'll slowly update this codex and any of the aspects that you find for the ones that you don't use. And as you see, it has a golden border once you max it out. Some of them will already come max out because some of them only have one to begin with, so you don't need to max that out because there's nothing for it to go up by. But the rest of them, you'll have to slowly find them and put them into the codex. But once you put them in the codex, they're yours forever. You can put them on any of your pieces and it will not use a charge, it won't use a rank, but it still costs materials, which I don't have any because I've been crafting today. You still craft sigils here, salvage sigils, and enchant items. Okay, so that's the same stuff before, nothing changes. So the next thing that I noticed that I really liked was the gear and the affixes on that gear. Now they said they were limiting the pool of affixes. Should it be just stuff like strength, willpower, pretty much your main stats, maximum life, none of this damage on Tuesday stuff. Okay, so you can see now that it has willpower, maximum life, and life per second. Now the star is the greater affix. Once again, can't be tempered into it. You can only find on the ground. And then the two below that are the ones that I tempered on myself. Okay, so they don't come with 5; they usually come with 3. So here's a regular legendary that only has 3 affixes on it that hasn't been tampered. Now here's a legendary that I upgraded from rare. When you upgrade it from rare to legendary, it does not gain an affix. It will only have the 2. You can only get it up to 4. So I'd say it's best to just use the legendaries that you find because your codex powers are saved. So you'll more than likely just be able to just use it on a better legendary that you find. Alright, so when it comes to timbering, you'll find recipes out in the world. They'll look like pieces of paper. They'll be in your main inventory. You just have to learn them just by pressing A on them or clicking on them. I play console, so I press A. And there are a bunch. So right now you can see I only have a few, but you can see that there's a bunch more. Obviously they're for different classes. And then you just have to find the rest. Okay, so we'll just kind of go over a few of them. Like this one stands for landslide projectiles to cast twice. So each class kind of has their own augments to kind of make them just a little bit better. And I see Blizzard's trying to mix it up a little bit, kind of what Diablo 3 was, where your skills aren't just functional, they're actually fun to use. Because before they're just kind of boring, plus 5% to critical chance. That's no fun. They're probably going in a direction somewhat like last epoch, where your ball of fire will shoot out meteors or something of that nature. So I do like this change. One of the next changes I did notice were the companions. A lot of people complain about companions, me especially because I'm a druid player, and your companions never did enough damage for me. They are actually doing damage now, out in Helltide, and even in Nightmare Dungeons. Now my build wasn't optimized, so they probably could have been doing better, but at least out in the Helltide, I could see the difference. It's a noticeable difference. They're walking out in front of you to attack people. You don't have to get attacked first before they attack. So them actually improving that system. Another thumbs up for me. Now this is a PTR. There will be bugs, so I did run into one bug with one of the aspects not working correctly. It's a PTR. I expect bugs. It's not perfect. This is just a rough draft to the final draft. So I'm okay with the rough draft being just a little rough. And if you're not sure of what things to run into, if you go onto their page, they'll let you know what bugs you may run into. And then if you go into the PTR forum, there's other bugs that people have stated, so everybody else knows as well. Alright, so the next mechanic that you'll run into here in season 4 is the pit, which is essentially greater rifts. You have to come to Karagar to access this. So you interact with this obelisk, and you see it has tiers. Right now I'm only on tier 2. It tells you the monster level right there menu. So you select a tier and you open up. Play D3. This is exactly how greater rifts and greater rifts worked in D3. I'm gonna run through this real quick, and we'll kind of just try to speed this up. You can see the timer. Every time you die, you see the death penalty as well. What I notice is a strategy for this is kind of find the big groups of people. Don't try to fight the onesie twosies. Not really worth it. Fight the groups. You just move on. Try to keep that bar in front of the timer. Alright, so as I get near the end of this, I'll kill these last few people. Then a portal opens up. See, I still have 4 minutes till I fail, essentially, but not fail, but not master it. So if you don't finish it within that time limit, you won't master it, and then you won't get the master working materials. Dying does decrease the time that you have left. So you want to kind of try to stay alive.
I'm not ready. I must wait a moment.
Alright, fight's done. I didn't think you wanted to see me be trash, so
I'm not ready yet.
you open up the chest and then you get the opticite. I got 6. I've been getting 6 per run at the lower levels. I don't know if you get more the higher you go, but you know, tier 1 and 2 I've been getting 6. And that is it for the pit. During the campfire chat, they did say that some of the uber boss materials will be just falling from regular enemies. I have noticed that. It's not a substantial amount, but it's a noticeable amount. More than usual. This used to be 0. Kind of exquisite blood out in the world, distilled fear. So they do drop, but like I said, it's not a substantial amount. It's not gonna drop like 6 at a time. Just 1 here and there, as opposed to having to go do a certain thing and only that thing to get it. So all in all, my day 1 opinion is good job, Blizzard. Stepped up. Now you have a good base game, and hopefully you just build on this. Obviously there are bugs in this, and there are still things that need to be fixed, and it's not perfect. No game is. I'm not expecting it to be perfect, but for what it is right now, it's way better than it started, so I'm okay with it. Good job, Blizzard. You all let me know what you think about the PTR as well. I'd like to hear you all's opinions. And I still haven't got to the end game stuff, so that's going to be my next objective, to kind of tackle that stuff next. But until then, see you next time.